The night sky above the Colorado mountains was clear and filled with stars. Catherine Bell adjusted her telescope one final time and checked the computer readings. For 3 weeks, she had tracked what she believed was an anomaly in Earth's orbit. Something that shouldn't be there. Something invisible to most instruments. Catherine took a sip of cold coffee and rubbed her tired eyes. At 34, she had already established herself as one of NASA's most talented astronomers, known for thinking outside normal scientific boundaries. Her colleagues often called her ideas crazy until she proved them right. The computer beeped. Catherine's eyes widened as she stared at the screen. The experimental frequency scanner she had developed was picking up energy patterns that matched no known satellite or space debris. "Got you," she whispered, quickly saving the data. The readings suggested something large, perhaps the size of a small building, orbiting Earth at precisely calculated intervals. Whatever it was, it used technology far beyond anything humans had created. Catherine picked up her phone and called the one person she trusted with this discovery. "William, it's me. I found something you need to see." 50 million miles away, on a massive space station hidden behind the orbit of Mars, senior observer Zoltek received an urgent alert. The Vexeran's scaly blue skin paled as he read the message. For the first time in 327 Earth years, one of their observation platforms had been detected. Zoltek's 6-fingered hand trembled slightly as he pressed the emergency communication button. This would go directly to the High Council. After centuries of perfect concealment, how could this happen? "Verification code?" asked the cold voice on the other end. Zoltek, Senior Observer, Earth Division. Code Yellow 7 Apex Decline. A pause. Report. One of our Earth observation posts has been compromised. A human female has detected energy signatures from Platform 12. The silence that followed felt heavy with implications. Evidence level. Level 3. She has recorded data but has not yet confirmed what she's found. Identity of the human. Zoltek pulled up the file. Catherine Bell, astronomer with their NASA organization. She has a history of developing detection equipment beyond standard Earth technology levels. Implement Directive 772B immediately. I will inform the Council. The communication ended. Zoltek stood motionless for several moments. Directive 772B meant increasing surveillance and preparing for possible intervention. The careful balance maintained for centuries might soon collapse. The next morning, William Hayes drove up the winding mountain road to Catherine's observatory. As one of the nation's top linguists and cryptographers, William had worked with Catherine on 2 previous projects. At 42, his dark hair was starting to gray at the temples, but his mind remained sharper than ever. Catherine was waiting outside, dark circles under her eyes suggesting she hadn't slept. "You look terrible," William said with a small smile. "Thanks. Always nice to see you too." Catherine led him inside. "I've been up all night. After I found the anomaly, I modified my scanner to capture any transmissions. Look at this." She pointed to her computer screen. Strange symbols scrolled across it, nothing like any human language. William leaned closer. "What am I looking at?" "I think it's communication. From whatever is up there." Catherine's voice was quiet but intense. "And there's more. Look at these older data patterns I found when I searched backward through archived telescope data." William studied the patterns. "These go back years, maybe longer. Something has been watching us, William, for a very long time." Neither of them noticed the small drone hovering outside the window, its camera focused on their conversation, transmitting everything back to a location far beyond Earth. In the Galactic Council headquarters orbiting Epsilon Eridani, 12 representatives of the major galactic powers received the emergency alert. The humans had discovered one of their observation posts. The Council's centuries-old deception was beginning to unravel. And now they were desperate. The great chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy. 12 representatives from the most powerful civilizations in the known galaxy sat around a massive circular table. Holographic displays showed Earth from various angles, with one screen zoomed in on Catherine Bell's small observatory. High Chancellor Vos stood at the center. His tall, slender frame and pale gray skin made him look almost ghostly under the chamber lights. For over 3 centuries, we have maintained Earth as a classified observation zone, Vos said, his voice echoing in the chamber. Directive 772 has been our guiding principle: containment and study of anomalous species. Ambassador Ilara from the Proxima Confederation shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Unlike the others, her people looked almost human, except for the faint blue glow of her eyes. "Remind us again why we've kept humans in the dark for so long," she asked. Other species were welcomed into the galactic community after achieving much less. Vos tapped a control panel. The screens filled with images of human history, wars, environmental damage, but also incredible works of art, scientific breakthroughs, and acts of compassion. "Humans are unpredictable," he said simply. "All our models fail when applied to them. They create beautiful art while designing weapons of mass destruction. They fight among themselves, yet unite instantly against outside threats. They are capable of both terrible cruelty and remarkable kindness, often within the same individual." Ambassador Drek, a reptilian being from the Orient systems, hissed softly. "And they advance too quickly. Compare their technology from 300 years ago to now. No other species has ever developed so rapidly." Vos nodded, "which is why we implemented the subtle limitations. Our interventions have slowed their space travel capabilities and steered them away from discovering certain physical principles that would lead to faster-than-light travel." Ilara stood up. "I have said for decades that our deception was ethically wrong. Perhaps this breach in our security is an opportunity for honest contact." Several representatives laughed coldly. "Your idealism is noted, Ambassador," Vos said, "but we must deal with reality. Humans have detected one of our observation platforms. Our intelligence suggests they have already begun analyzing the transmissions. It is only a matter of time before they understand more." "What do you propose?" asked Ambassador Krell of the Centauri Alliance. "Contingency Protocol Omega-9, Vos replied. The chamber fell silent. Ilara's face paled. "That is extreme," she said quietly. "Omega-9 includes memory alteration, technology sabotage, and in worst cases, targeted elimination of knowledge holders." "It is necessary," Vos insisted. "If humans discover the full extent of our observation and our interventions in their development, their reaction would be unpredictable, potentially violent. Or perhaps they would simply demand the truth and their rightful place among us," Ilara countered. Vos ignored her. "We will send a diplomatic mission to assess how much they know. Captain Nira will lead it. If necessary, more direct measures will follow." Back on Earth, Catherine and William had made surprising progress. William's expertise in patterns and language structures had helped them identify repeating sequences in the alien transmissions. "Look at this," William said, pointing to his computer screen. "These symbols appear regularly before references to Earth's coordinates." Catherine leaned closer. "Can you translate any of it?" "Not exactly translate, but I'm starting to understand the structure. This symbol group here appears whenever they reference Earth, and this sequence," William highlighted another pattern, "appears with what might be dates or time measurements." The phone rang, startling them both. Catherine answered. A deep voice spoke formally. "Dr. Bell, this is Commander Alan Foster, United States Space Defense Division. We need to speak with you and Dr. Hayes immediately about your recent astronomical findings." Catherine's eyes widened. "How did you know about?" "We've been monitoring the same anomalies. A team is en route to your location now. Please do not discuss your findings with anyone else." As Catherine hung up, William looked concerned. "Government involvement already. That was fast." "Too fast," Catherine said, suddenly suspicious. I only made this discovery yesterday. How would they know? Neither noticed the small blinking light on Catherine's computer, an unauthorized connection, transmitting everything they said to somewhere far beyond Earth. In orbit, Captain Nira received her final orders from the Council. Her mission to Earth would determine humanity's fate. 3 black SUVs pulled up to Catherine's observatory. 6 men and women in dark suits stepped out, led by a tall man with short-cropped gray hair and the confident stride of someone used to giving orders. "Dr. Bell, I'm Commander Alan Foster." He showed her an ID card with a symbol Catherine had never seen before. "This is a matter of national security." Catherine and William exchanged glances as the team began unloading equipment from the vehicles. "What exactly is your division?" "I've never heard of the Space Defense Division," William asked. "Few have. We monitor threats from beyond our atmosphere." Commander Foster's eyes were sharp and calculating. "You've discovered something important. We've been tracking similar signals for the past 6 months." Inside, Foster's team set up advanced monitoring equipment. A woman with intense eyes and quick movements introduced herself as Dr. Lisa Grant, the team's lead analyst. "Your detection method was brilliant," Lisa told Catherine. "We've been trying to crack their cloaking technology for years." "Years?" Catherine repeated. "You've known about them for years." Commander Foster nodded. "Since 2029, we detected energy patterns we couldn't explain. But you've gone further than we ever did. You've captured their communications." William showed them his progress on decoding the alien language. "These patterns suggest references to Earth and something called the Containment Directive." Lisa's fingers flew across her keyboard. "Match confirmed with our partial translations. You've filled in several gaps we couldn't solve." As the team worked, one of Foster's men whispered something in his ear. The commander frowned. "We have an unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere. Trajectory suggests it's heading for low orbit over North America." Outside Earth's atmosphere, Captain Nira guided her ship carefully toward the blue planet. Her mission was officially diplomatic: make contact with the humans who had detected their presence and assess how much they knew. The unofficial mission directives were much less friendly. "Maintain stealth approach," she ordered her crew of 5. "Sensors detect their primitive tracking systems are not following us." "Captain," her second-in-command reported, "our intelligence shows the humans with knowledge of our presence are gathered at a single location." "Convenient," Nira replied. "Prepare the memory modification equipment. We'll present ourselves as cultural ambassadors from the Galactic Council while we determine the extent of their knowledge." But as they descended toward Earth, alarms blared across their control panels. "We're being scanned," the navigator shouted. "Advanced frequency patterns, similar to our own technology." "Impossible," Nira thought. "Humans shouldn't have such capability." In the observatory, Lisa pointed to her screen. "We've got them." Dropping out of stealth at 80,000 feet and descending, Commander Foster immediately began issuing orders. "Full defensive protocols. Inform Joint Chiefs we have first contact scenario Black Dawn." Catherine stared at them. "You were expecting this?" "Hoping and dreading," Foster replied. "We've been preparing for decades." Within 30 minutes, the alien ship landed in a clearing 2 miles from the observatory. Foster's team had established a perimeter, and military helicopters could be heard approaching in the distance. "Stay behind us," Foster told Catherine and William. "We don't know their intentions." The ship's hull slid open. 5 humanoid beings emerged, dressed in sleek uniforms. Their skin ranged from pale blue to gray, and their large eyes scanned the humans cautiously. One stepped forward. "I am Captain Nira of the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking cultural exchange with your world." Foster stepped forward. "Commander Alan Foster, Earth Defense. Welcome to Earth." His tone was polite but guarded. Nira smiled, but Catherine noticed it didn't reach her eyes. "We were passing through your system and detected unusual signals. We thought it time to make formal contact." William whispered to Catherine. "She's lying. The transmissions we intercepted show they've been here for centuries. Foster had clearly reached the same conclusion. Interesting. Would you like to explain why you've been observing us for over 300 years without making contact? Nera's smile vanished. Her hand moved toward a device on her belt. Now, she shouted to her crew. Chaos erupted. A pulse of energy knocked several humans off their feet. In the confusion, Foster tackled one of the aliens while the others retreated to their ship. When it was over, the alien ship had fled, but one of them remained behind, unconscious, and now their prisoner. The captured alien was taken to a secure underground facility 50 miles from the observatory. Catherine and William were brought along as civilian consultants. The alien lay unconscious in a medical bay, monitored by doctors who looked both excited and nervous to be examining their first extraterrestrial being. Junior Officer Terran. Commander Foster read from a translator device they had taken from the alien. That's the name on his identification badge. Catherine studied the alien's features. Despite the blue-tinted skin and large eyes, the being looked remarkably humanoid. "When will he wake up?" she asked. "Soon," replied Dr. Grant. "His biology is different, but similar enough that we understand the basics. The stun weapon only causes temporary unconsciousness." As if on cue, the alien's eyes fluttered open. He looked around in panic, then seemed to resign himself to his situation. "You can understand me?" Foster asked. The alien nodded slowly. "Universal translator," he said, pointing to a small device near his ear. "Standard issue for all Council operatives." "Then perhaps you can explain why your diplomatic mission attacked us," Foster said coldly. The alien named Terran looked at Catherine and William, then back to Foster. "I can tell you everything, but first I need assurance of my safety." "Why would you betray your people?" William asked. "Because not all of us agree with the Council's decisions regarding Earth." Terran sat up slowly. "I am part of Ambassador Ilara's faction. We have opposed the containment policy for decades." Foster crossed his arms. "What containment policy?" "Your species was deemed too unpredictable for contact," Terran explained. "The rapid pace of your technological advancement, coupled with your emotional nature, frightened the Council. They believe humans would destabilize the careful balance of galactic politics." Catherine leaned forward. "So all the setbacks in our space program, the mysteriously failed experiments." "Deliberate sabotage," Terran confirmed. "The Council has been subtly restricting your development, particularly in propulsion technology and certain areas of quantum physics that would lead to faster-than-light travel." The humans exchanged shocked glances. "That's why we've had so many unexplained failures in the unified field experiments," William realized. Terran nodded. "Your species should have achieved interstellar travel 30 years ago, based on your natural development curve." "Why are you telling us this?" Foster demanded. "Because it was wrong," Terran said simply. "And because now that you've discovered our presence, the Council will implement more extreme measures. Captain Nero was under orders to assess your knowledge and then selectively alter your memories if necessary." "Alter our memories?" Catherine looked horrified. "It gets worse," Terran continued. "If that failed, they would move to Containment Protocol Level 4, which includes technology disruption on a global scale." "You mean they would attack Earth?" Foster asked sharply. "Not attack, exactly. They would deploy devices that disable electronic systems, returning your society to a pre-digital state while they reassess containment options." The room fell silent as they processed this information. "I can help you," Terran said into the silence. "I have access codes to Council databases. I can show you the full extent of their deception and their plans." Foster studied him suspiciously. "Why would you do that?" "Because Ambassador Ilara was right. Your species deserves the truth and the chance to join the galactic community on equal terms." Terran held out his hand, revealing a small device hidden in his palm. "This contains access codes to all Council records regarding Earth. It also has coordinates to a location your people have never detected. a massive council facility on your planet Mars. Mars, Catherine exclaimed. They have a base on Mars. A monitoring station built centuries ago, Terran said. It contains the complete history of council intervention on Earth, and something more important, the technological keys to undo what they've done to limit your development. Foster took the device cautiously. This could be a trap. It could be, Terran agreed. But your detection of our observation post has already triggered the Council's contingency plans. They will be returning with more ships soon. This may be your only chance to prepare. Catherine looked at the small device in Foster's hand. If he's telling the truth, we need to act quickly. Foster nodded grimly. Get our best people on this. If there's a council facility on Mars, we need to find it before they come back. As the humans hurried into action, Terran watched them with hope. Perhaps humans truly were ready to join the stars, ready to challenge the Council's deceptions that had held them back for so long. 3 days after Terran's revelation, Catherine found herself aboard the U.S. Defiant, a spacecraft whose existence had been kept secret from the public. The ship represented the best of human engineering, enhanced by technology reverse-engineered from fragments of alien tech collected over decades. We kept this project off all official records, Commander Foster explained as he led Catherine, William, and Terran through the sleek corridors. Even most of the government doesn't know about it. How long until we reach Mars? William asked. 12 hours, replied Captain Susan Carter, the ship's commander. That's about a quarter of the time a normal mission would take. We've incorporated some special modifications. Terran looked impressed. You've managed to partially overcome the Council's technological suppression. Your species is remarkably adaptive. The journey to Mars was tense. Every person aboard knew they were making history, but also potentially starting a conflict with a vastly superior galactic power. Catherine spent hours studying the data Terran had provided. The Council has files on nearly every significant human in history, she told William. They've been watching us develop, documenting everything, and occasionally interfering when we got too close to technologies they wanted to suppress. Like lab rats in an experiment, William said bitterly. Terran looked uncomfortable. Not everyone on the Council viewed it that way. Ambassador Ilara and her faction saw humans as equals deserving of contact, but they were outvoted. As they approached Mars, Terran guided them to coordinates on the planet's far side. To human instruments, the area appeared to be nothing but empty desert and rocky outcroppings, but when Terran activated a device from his uniform, a massive structure shimmered into view. Optical camouflage, Terran explained. The station is built into the Martian landscape. The team landed near the facility. Wearing protective suits, they approached the huge complex carved into the side of a cliff. Terran used his access codes to open a massive door that had been invisible moments before. Inside, they found corridors lined with data storage systems and monitoring equipment. The air was breathable, maintained by ancient atmospheric generators. This station has been operational for over 500 Earth years, Terran said. It predates your industrial revolution. Catherine felt a chill. They'd been watching us that long. Longer. This was the third station built. The first was constructed during what you call the Roman Empire. Foster led them to a central command room where Terran accessed the main computer. Holographic displays came to life, showing thousands of files organized by time period and subject matter. There, Terran pointed, the species containment protocols. William began translating the alien text with Terran's help. His face grew increasingly grim. This details every method they've used to limit our development, William said. They introduced subtle errors into promising research. They caused equipment failures during critical experiments. They even influenced which scientific theories received funding and support. Catherine examined another file. Look at this. Methods to prevent humans from ever joining the wider galactic community. The worst is something called the Global Reset Protocol. It describes using devices that would disable all electronic systems on Earth, sending us back to a pre-industrial state. The Council considers it a last resort, Terran confirmed. But with your discovery of our observation posts, they may implement it soon. Foster's communication device beeped. Sir, came the urgent voice of Captain Carter. We're detecting multiple ships entering the solar system, much larger than the diplomatic vessel we encountered. We need to download everything and get back to Earth, Foster ordered. There's more, Terran said, accessing another section of the database. This contains detailed schematics of the technology the Council has withheld from humans, including faster-than-light travel. As they hurriedly downloaded the vast stores of information, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. The Council has detected unauthorized access to this station, Terran warned. They know we're here. Catherine looked at the progress bar on their download. 80% complete. We need just a few more minutes. Foster checked his weapon. Then we hold them off for a few more minutes. Humanity's future depends on what's in these files. Outside, the Martian sky filled with the approaching shapes of Council ships. Aboard the Council flagship approaching Mars, Ambassador Ilara confronted High Chancellor Voth. She had requested emergency transport to join the mission after learning of the unauthorized military response to the Earth situation. This action violates our own laws, Ilara said, her blue eyes glowing with anger. The full Council never approved an armed intervention against Earth. Voth stood with his back to her, watching the red planet grow larger on the view screen. The emergency protocols give me this authority. Humans have accessed Council technology and compromised a primary observation post. Or perhaps they've simply overcome our obstacles through their own ingenuity, Ilara countered. Everything they've accomplished proves they are ready for contact. They are dangerous and unpredictable, Voth snapped. The models show their inclusion in galactic affairs would lead to chaos. Your models are based on fear, not fact, Ilara said. I've studied human history more carefully than anyone on the Council. Their capacity for growth and adaptation is unmatched. Voth turned to face her, which is precisely why they must be contained. They advance too quickly, solve problems too creatively. Within a century of joining the galactic community, they would upset the careful balance we've maintained for millennia. What neither knew was that Ilara's aide, a young Proximan named Jorel, was recording their conversation. As instructed, he transmitted the recording directly to 6 ships in the fleet, vessels captained by Ilara's supporters. On Mars, Catherine and her team worked frantically to complete the data download. Foster had positioned guards at the entrance to the facility, but they all knew they couldn't hold off a Council attack force. Download complete, William announced. We have everything. Their observation records, the suppression technologies, and the advanced science they've kept from us. Terran looked at a monitoring screen and paled. 12 ships have entered orbit. We need to leave now. They raced back to their ship, the precious data secured in multiple devices. As they prepared for launch, Foster received a surprising transmission. Earth vessel, this is Captain Lorik of the Proxima vessel Starlight. We're blocking the Council flagship to give you time to escape. Ambassador Ilara sends her regards. On their view screen, they saw a smaller Council ship position itself between their location and the much larger flagship. What's happening? Catherine asked Terran. Civil conflict within the Council, Terran explained, his voice hopeful. Ilara's faction is taking action. They're creating a diversion for us. Captain Carter didn't waste the opportunity. The U.S. Defiant launched, accelerating rapidly away from Mars. On the main Council ship, Voth watched in fury as 6 vessels broke formation, blocking the flagship's weapon systems from targeting the human ship. This is treason, he shouted. Order those ships to resume their positions. They've cut communication, Chancellor, his aide reported. And the human ship is accelerating to escape velocity. Launch interceptors, Voth commanded. Sir, another aide interrupted. We're receiving transmissions from multiple Council worlds. Ambassador Ilara's recording of your conversation is being broadcast across all channels. Voth froze. His unauthorized operation and his admission that the containment of Earth violated Council principles were now public knowledge. Meanwhile, the Earth ship reached maximum acceleration. The Council vessels couldn't pursue without firing on their own ships, something even Vos wouldn't dare do. "We're clear," Captain Carter announced, setting course for Earth at maximum speed. Catherine looked at the data they had recovered. "We need to alert all world governments immediately." The Council could still implement their electronic disruption plan. "They won't," Terran said confidently. "Ilara's faction has exposed Vos' actions. The political balance has shifted." Foster wasn't convinced. "We prepare for the worst and hope for the best. When we reach Earth, we distribute this technology to every major nation. If the Council wants a fight, they'll find humanity ready." As their ship sped toward Earth, Catherine stared at the stars. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky, unaware they were being watched and manipulated. Now, finally, the truth was known. The Council's deception was falling apart, and in its place, a new chapter in human history was about to begin. The U.S. Defiant returned to Earth amid unprecedented global activity. News of alien contact had leaked to the public, and world leaders were scrambling to respond. For the first time in human history, ancient rivalries between nations were set aside in the face of a common situation. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, representatives from every country gathered for an emergency session. Catherine, William, Commander Foster, and Terran stood before them, prepared to reveal the truth about humanity's cosmic position. "Ladies and gentlemen," Foster began, "what we are about to share will change your understanding of human history forever." Catherine stepped forward. For over 500 years, a group called the Galactic Council has been observing Earth. They have systematically interfered with our technological development, particularly in areas that would allow us to join the interstellar community. Murmurs filled the chamber as William activated a holographic display using technology from the Mars facility. It showed clear evidence of Council interference throughout human history. "This isn't just observation," William explained. "They deliberately sabotaged promising research, introduced errors into scientific papers, and caused equipment failures in experiments that might have led to breakthrough technologies." The Secretary General looked stunned. Why would they do this? Terran addressed the assembly, causing another wave of shocked whispers at the sight of an actual alien. "My people feared yours. Human creativity, adaptability, and rate of advancement alarmed the Council. They predicted you would quickly rise to become a dominant force in galactic politics." Catherine continued, "But now their deception is exposed. We've acquired complete records of their interference, along with the advanced technology they've withheld from us." Foster's communication device beeped urgently. He checked it, and his expression darkened. "Council ships have entered Earth orbit, 17 vessels in total." The assembly erupted in panic until Foster raised his hand. 6 of those ships belonged to Ambassador Ilara's faction. They opposed the Council's treatment of Earth. "We have allies up there." On the main screens of the UN chamber, a transmission appeared. High Chancellor Vos looked coldly at the assembled humans. "People of Earth," he said, "your unauthorized access to Council facilities and technology violates containment protocols. Return all acquired data immediately and submit to memory adjustment procedures." Before anyone could respond, a second transmission cut in. Ambassador Ilara appeared beside Vos' image. "Ignore that demand," she said firmly. "Chancellor Vos' actions have been deemed unauthorized by the full Council. He no longer speaks with Council authority." Vos' face contorted with anger. "This is internal Council business. Humans have no right to." "They have every right," Ilara interrupted. "Your own records prove centuries of illegal interference in their development." Catherine stepped forward. "We know what you've been doing," she broadcast to the Council fleet. "We've accessed your Mars facility and downloaded your archives. If you take hostile action, the complete history of your deception will be transmitted to every member world of the Council." William moved to her side. "We've already begun implementing your suppressed technologies. What would have taken decades we've accomplished in days. To demonstrate, he activated another device. A small sphere rose from his palm, hovering in midair before expanding into a complex three-dimensional display of energy patterns. The principles of unified field manipulation, he explained to the stunned assembly. The key to faster-than-light travel that the Council kept from us. On the screens, Vaugh's face showed clear shock. Impossible. You couldn't have decoded that technology so quickly. You really don't understand humans at all, do you? Catherine said. Adaptation is what we do best. When faced with challenges, we don't give up. We innovate. Foster addressed both the Council transmission and the Earth Assembly. We offer these terms: immediate recognition of Earth's sovereignty, full disclosure of all suppressed technologies, and Earth's admission to the Galactic Council with equal status. The Council does not negotiate under threats, Vos began, but Ilara cut him off. The Council is already voting on your removal, Chancellor, she said. Your containment policy has failed completely. It's time for a new approach. Around the world, humans watched the exchange with a mixture of fear and hope. Centuries of being secretly manipulated had ended. Now, humanity stood ready to claim its rightful place among the stars. 3 days after the confrontation in Earth's orbit, the Council fleet remained in position, but the balance of power had shifted dramatically. 6 more ships had joined Ilara's faction, leaving Vols with dwindling support. In a secure conference room at the United Nations, Catherine, William, and Commander Foster met with Ilara, who had taken the unprecedented step of coming to Earth's surface. It was the first official diplomatic meeting between humanity and the Galactic Council. Chancellor Vos has been removed from power, Ilara announced. The full Council has voted to end the containment policy and open formal relations with Earth. Just like that? Foster asked skeptically. After centuries of deception, Ilara smiled. Hardly. The vote came only after your threat to release all Council records to every member world. Many representatives feared the resulting chaos more than they feared Earth joining the galactic community. What happens now? Catherine asked. Now we negotiate the terms of Earth's entry into interstellar affairs, Ilara replied. Normally, new species are admitted as probationary members with limited rights, but your situation is unique. William leaned forward. We want full membership, equal standing with all other Council worlds, and access to all technologies that were kept from us, Foster added. Ilara nodded. Those terms will be difficult for many Council members to accept, but they have little choice. Your rapid mastery of the technologies you obtained from Mars has demonstrated exactly what the Council feared: humanity's extraordinary ability to adapt and advance. On the main view screen, they could see Vos's former flagship preparing to depart Earth orbit. His final attempt at deception had failed when he tried to activate hidden devices meant to disable Earth's electronics. The devices had been located and neutralized using information from the Mars facility. Vos still has supporters, Ilara warned. They believe containing Earth was necessary for galactic stability. They created exactly what they feared, Catherine observed. By forcing us to develop in isolation, they made us more resourceful and determined than we might have been otherwise. Over the next 2 weeks, negotiations continued between Earth representatives and the Council delegation. The Mars facility was transformed from a secret observation post into an open cultural exchange center. Scientists from around the world worked day and night to understand and implement the previously suppressed technologies. Catherine found herself appointed to lead the first official human delegation to the Council homeworlds. As she prepared to depart aboard a Council ship, William joined her on the boarding platform. Nervous, he asked. Terrified, she admitted with a smile, but mostly excited. We're the first humans to travel beyond our solar system. Commander Foster approached them with final instructions. Remember, you're representing not just the United States, but all of Earth. The Council needs to understand we speak with one voice now. They'll understand, Catherine said confidently. They'd been studying us for centuries, even if they drew the wrong conclusions. As they boarded the ship, Catherine looked back at Earth shining blue and beautiful against the blackness of space. For thousands of years, humans had gazed at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Now they knew the answer, and it was more complex than anyone had imagined. The very qualities the Council feared in humanity, our unpredictability, our adaptability, our determination, were ultimately what earned their respect. She told William as the ship prepared for departure. "They tried to contain what they didn't understand," William replied. "Instead, they created exactly what the galaxy needs, a species that thinks differently." The Council's centuries of deception had completely fallen apart. Their desperate final attempts to maintain control had failed. In their place stood something new, a human race aware of its cosmic context, united by common purpose, and ready to take its place among the stars. As the ship accelerated away from Earth, Catherine felt a profound sense of possibility. The future that awaited humanity would be challenging, filled with new wonders and dangers. But one thing was certain: humans would face that future as they had faced every challenge throughout their history, with creativity, courage, and an unbreakable determination to overcome whatever obstacles stood in their way.